Hello, everyone, and welcome to Evolve Yourself TV. I am Agni James, and this lovely lady is
Danielle Johnson.
yes, and we are here today to discuss some of our experiences with philosophy, and then we're going to run a guided meditation. So, how is everyone today? How's everyone doing on this glorious day? For right now in Chicago, it is 88 degrees, which is pretty warm. It's pretty hot. We got the air cranking. We're feeling good. What are you gonna sit there on your phone all day?
I'm trying to use. I got prayer hand emojis with the unicorn, and I only have like 4 more hours to use it. And so I'm trying to send it.
So yeah, parent. Oh, hey, Gravy 440. Thank you so much for following. That's awesome. Much appreciated. All right. Yeah. So hopefully, we're gonna have a good stream tonight, and we're gonna do a lot of good stuff. So we're pretty excited about that.
Dang it.
Well, you can't use your remote.
It says I got a little overzealous.
Yeah.
And I typed it too many times, and it's not letting me send more than 500 characters.
All right. So Danielle's very concerned that she can't use her emote
It's
the way
wait
she
till you
wants
see
to.
it. You're gonna see why.
All right. Here's the emote she wants to use.
No, don't do it. Don't show me.
I was gonna do it without.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna do the basic one, the main one. All right. And she's got a modification that she made to
I paid
her emote.
900 points for this thing.
All right. She wants to use it. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing well today. And yeah, a little bit about my experience with philosophy. So when I was all right,
Totally worth the wait.
that looks pretty cool. Yeah, pretty neat. All right, you got it out. Are you happy? You content with your decision?
Carry on.
All right, fine. Just interrupt me in the middle of my story with like 100 emotes and yeah, fine, fair enough. Okay.
Sure enough.
All right, so a little bit about my experience with philosophy. When I was a little kid, I was sitting and I was staring at the paint on the wall, and I noticed a very small, tiny imperfection in that paint. I know she likes to try to get under my skin and mess me up with stuff. So that's just kind of
I've
how
been teaching people all day long, like kids all day long, so I'm super hyper right now.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit too hyper. But
Is that a thing?
But anyways, I'm staring at this imperfection in the paint in the wall, and I had no idea how it got there. So, as like a 5 or 7-year-old kid, I asked my parents, hey, how did this tiny little imperfection get on the paint? And they're like, hey, we don't know. We don't know how that got there. It's just, off in the corner of the wall. It's just, when you paint a wall, it's not all going to be perfectly smooth. And, sometimes little imperfections get there. But I wanted to know how this one particular imperfection got there. And at that moment, then I asked some more people, and then everyone's like, dude, we don't know. We don't know how that imperfection got there. That's, why would we know that, right? That's not something that typically is discussed. And so then...
Did they say it? That's snotty.
Basically, yeah. They were saying disparaging comments to this, 5-year-old kid who's having this epistemological... nightmare, this existential crisis that he's about ready to enter into. Because he realized at that time that there were things in this world that he would not know, right? And that's what I realized. I realized, oh my God, if I can't know how this imperfection in the paint got on the wall, then how am I? Then there's got to be millions and billions and trillions of other things I'm never going to know. And that was like one of the most terrifying moments of my life. And it set me down this epistemological rabbit hole. But I'm age 5, and I don't have the concepts or the vocabulary to explain my feelings and what's going on in my head. But yeah, I just started doubting a lot of things. I started questioning a lot of things. And that is my introduction to philosophy. Danielle, tell me about your...
early childhood we're doing, right?
Yes,
all right.
I want to know anything.
Early childhood philosophy.
All
So
right.
I'm from this real small town, right? So we don't have, nobody...
Very small town. Actually, it's an island, technically.
Technically an island. Pre-internet, mind you, so no access to the outside world. So I would not be getting exposure to philosophy. So I didn't even know what that was or what it meant. But I actually just literally found my old poems that when I was writing. So this would probably be between age 11 and 15. And I was just Now who's playing on their phone the whole time?
I'm not playing on my phone. I was doing work. I was doing work. All right, you want to? It's gonna be one of these days. It's gonna be one of these days. I see. All right, we might have some anger and resentment come up.
No
on the
anger.
stream.
I'm just asking a question.
All right, she's trying to call me out in front of the chat. I see how it is. All right.
I'm doing it in person after yesterday. Where's
Yeah.
JT Farms?
Yeah,
JT Farms, are
I know.
you here?
JT Farms, where are you?
Help me! I need help. Okay, so, but I found all this poetry where I was writing like, everybody's wearing a mask and I don't fit into this world,
Yeah.
and why are people this way? And so just really, mine was always more about human psychology, and I'm not as epistemologically minded as you were, but
How old were you at this time?
I would say this is like 11 to 16.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
Cool.
it's like middle school, high school age.
Yeah, definitely.
So I was
Your brain is still very plastic, and you're ready to learn and adopt information. Cool.
So I was just asking all these questions about more, like I said, I'm obsessed with psychology. My first big person book I ever read was Sigmund Freud, Interpretation of Dreams. So
Nice.
that was...
By the way, that's a quality book for anyone who has not read it. Definitely check it out.
Well, I mean...
It gives you a good historical perspective
Okay.
on psychology and where we were at 100 years ago.
That is an excellent point. It definitely does that. Sigmund Freud was a genius, even though, like, all of his stuff doesn't pan out, but that's just because...
He was one of the first psychologists.
Right.
He was one of the early guys.
A lot of his stuff still does pan out. No matter what you hear about him, he still is.
And she's a doctor of psychology, so she's a credible expert.
Definitely. So I remember having that poetry, and I remember like talking with my dad about questions. So my dad would ask me, like, okay, well, what's there's the edge of the universe. What's after the edge of the universe? Do you know what I mean? So it wasn't in like philosophical terms, but it was like
big questions.
Right, exactly.
Got it.
And my brain's always been big. I've always gone big in everything. Oh, there she is. Hi, JT Farms.
Hey, JT, how's it going?
So nice to see you. Good.
Yeah. Yes.
My Gang Up on Agni partners here.
You two were beating me up a little bit too much yesterday. I'm a very sensitive guy, just so everyone knows. I am a poet, and I do have the heart of a poet, and I'm a sensitive guy. And when someone says something abrasive, it sometimes makes me go home and cry a lot. So if you all want me to cry a lot, then that's your prerogative. But let's see, what do you have to say?
Good for your spirit to beat someone
down. Yeah,
for sure. Okay, so that is my early childhood. So tell me about college for you now.
Okay, in college, I had never taken any philosophy. I was all science. So okay. Initially, none of my questions were answered with that whole chip in the paint thing, right? I never got any answers. No, I realized that there were a million things I would never know, and that the pursuit of truth was going to be a really difficult pursuit. But I was obsessed with truth. I became, and I'm not talking about when a lot of people nowadays talk about, oh, it's my own truth. No, I'm talking about big T, capital T, objective truth. I was obsessed with that. I wanted to know exactly what was out there. I wanted to know the exact nature of reality. I wanted to know just everything that existed. I wanted the facts. I wanted the pure truth. What?
So JT Farms, we're talking about like our history of engaging with philosophy and how we liked it. Just so you know what we're talking about here.
Yeah. So all right. So it led me to the sciences. Because I took some science classes, and I was like, hey, so these methods, scientific methodology, is how one is going to come to understand the nature of reality. It's how one's going to come to understand all of existence. So I want to learn everything I can know about science. And I was particularly drawn to molecular biology and psychology. So I studied those as undergrads, and I wanted to learn everything there is to know about science, and such that I could actually have an understanding of how the universe worked, of how everything worked, right? So I did that through college, and then when I was in college, near the end of my junior year, I started realizing that science was really good at explaining information about the things the objects of experience, things we can touch and smell and taste and things that one might refer to as that are in Kant's phenomenal realm. But science didn't do a good job of answering questions that were deeper, more philosophical in nature. So I took a philosophy class, and it was just like a basic honors program, tutorial basic into philosophy, right? And we just learned about a lot of the basic concepts. We read a book, I think it was called Sophie's World or something like that, and it listed a lot of the key thinkers in philosophy and what they thought, and that really started to open my mind up to philosophy. I had never had any formal exposure to that prior to that, but then once I read that book and took the class, I started thinking about it more. Oh, Roko Hemda's here. Hey, how's it going, Roko Hemda? Good to see you. Roko Hemda is my brother from another mother. He's a great guy and a good friend of mine. So it's good to see you, buddy. But yeah, yeah, you want to continue with your?
All right, so college.
I've been talking a lot right now.
We'll hold off on grad school for the next time. Okay, so college for me, I actually went to school, and I was a psych major at first, but then I didn't want to be a clinical psychologist. I knew that, and that was the only program that there was there at the school I was at. So then I actually thought about being a philosopher, and my dad's like, well, you can't really get a job if you're a philosopher. Like, there's nothing you can be if you graduate with that degree and you're done.
So one funny joke that I heard once about philosophers, they said, what's the number one question that philosophers ask when they get out of grad school? And then the answer is, would you like fries with that? Right? Because there aren't many jobs. There aren't many. What was that, a mocking laugh? Did I detect a hint?
I wasn't mocking, but I thought it would be funny if I just laughed a lot.
Okay,
but I wasn't trying to mock you.
All right, well, whatever. All right. But anyways, that's kind of the idea that Danielle's talking about, right? If you go to grad school and get your master's or PhD in philosophy, you can either become a philosophy professor or do something with writing, or you can become an attorney. You go to law school and become an attorney. Those are pretty much your main options. There's not or you know what? There's some ethicists that work in hospitals. They'll bring in someone to do to consult. Most big hospitals now have an ethicist on staff, so that's the other one exception. But yeah, all right, continue.
So, yeah, but this was just my undergrad too. So
yeah.
Then that's really hard to
get a job
right with just a bachelor's of philosophy. So he's like, well, that's not a great idea. So I'm like, okay, and I was still kind of young and impressionable, and
she still is very impressionable, by the way.
Well, so then I actually was in my last year of grad school, and I took a communications class. It was a communications theory class, and one of our textbooks was Philosophy for Dummies, and it was just it was talking to my soul, yeah. Right? And I wrote this paper on Aristotle and Socrates, and it was my favorite paper that I've ever written in my whole life, maybe. Wow. And I just felt yeah, I love philosophy. It's so amazing. This is cool. Mm-hmm. But I was going to grad school for communication, so I just kind of
put it off to the side.
Yeah, I didn't think about philosophy very much anymore.
Okay, cool.
So now grad school.
All right, so then for me, after I finished my undergrad, I did a bunch of things. I wanted to pursue. I felt that science wasn't accurately grasping the whole picture, right? We were able to explain a lot of facts about the world, right? We're able to build bridges. We're able to cure diseases. It had a lot of utility. Science is a great tool, but the things beyond our experience, or beyond our ability to measure and quantify, it didn't do a good job in explaining those things. And so I went off into a more spiritual direction. And I got into the holistic scene, and I started meditating, and I started doing yoga, qigong, kumnae, all sorts of things. A lot of Eastern philosophy, actually, I started getting into a little bit. Taoism, in order to try to help me understand the truth, because that was something that was just as dear, and still is as dear to my heart as anything. Trying to find out that objective truth that exists in the world, that capital T truth, that's going to be the same unifying principle for everyone and everything. That right there is what is important to me. So I did the spiritual path for quite a few years, and I still am. I consider myself a pretty spiritual person. But then, there was a lot of vagueness in the holistic scene. I noticed there was a lot of people using terms to mean many different things, and then when you press them about it, they wouldn't be able to explicate precisely what they meant, and I thought that caused a lot of miscommunication. But people were so welcoming and happy and joyous in that community that like no one was really calling people out on it. But sometimes it's good to call someone out if they're not using something correctly, if they're not saying something that is that if they're not using a word right, right? Or otherwise it's just going to lead to miscommunication. And if we can't communicate accurately, then what are we even doing? It's going to make everything messy, and we're going to have even a harder time getting to truth. So I decided to take some philosophy classes at just a community college, and I was immediately hooked. When I took those classes, I realized that was where my heart was, and that those were the concepts and the terminology that was being used that was interacting with my soul almost, such that I now had a working vocabulary and a working conceptual framework in which I could ask better questions, which was great because that's what I wanted to do. So it wasn't like I was actually even necessarily, learning truth. I was just gaining the ability to cut through bullshit and ask better questions. So I took those classes, I was all in, and then I realized this is what I wanted to do with my life. So I applied for graduate school, got into grad school, and pursued my master's degree and got my master's degree in analytic philosophy. And for those of you who don't know, analytic philosophy is a type of philosophy that's primarily done in the US and England, and then continental philosophy is done primarily in the rest of Europe. And then there's also Eastern philosophy that's done in some of the Eastern countries and whatnot as well. So those are like the main areas of philosophy. I'm interested in them all, which kind of like puts me in a unique space. But I'm mostly on board with the analytic scene. And the reason why I like analytic philosophy so much is because they are really good at cutting through the bullshit and clarifying terms. Because this, throughout the years, one of the major issues with philosophy and one of the major issues with just life in general is that a tremendous amount of miscommunication arises because people are using terms and not understanding what the other person means by that term. So, I could say the word love, and then, there could be 10 different definitions of what love means, and people are using it in 10 different ways. And then, so when I say it, someone might interpret it in one way, and then someone else would interpret it in another way. And then, all of a sudden you have you have a bunch of people that don't understand what I'm talking about. They don't understand the message I'm trying to convey. All they understand is their own subjective interpretation of the message corresponding to the actual definition that they know and that they employ and use on a regular basis. And so analytic philosophy is great in clarifying terms, keeping things logically consistent, and that's another problem I have. A lot of times in life, you'll see people that will say, A, if A then B, if B then C, and if therefore, if A then C, right? But then you'll meet some people who are very inconsistent in their logic, and they'll be like, oh well, it's if A then B then C, but it's not the case then that if A then C. And like when I hear that kind of stuff, I'm like, whoa! Like I have this thing go off in my head, and it's like, man, dude, you just violated some of the formal laws of logic. You can't do that, man. It's like, dude, you're messing with logic. Don't mess with my logic, man. This is what we have. This is our number one tool. Well, a number one tool to understand, the phenomenal world and to understand reality and understand ultimate truth, right? Logic is dear to my heart. So, I started studying all the fallacies. I took intermediate logic. I took first order predicate calculus. All these logic classes to try to really gain some grasp on what actually is the working methodology and working toolkit of the deductive science of philosophy in order to actually understand and comprehend reality. So yeah, and so then I did that. I primarily focused on metaphysics because that's such a close area to my heart, which is the study of the foundational nature of reality. I studied philosophy of mind and then philosophy of science, which were also like major areas that I felt would be very useful in the pursuit of capital T objective truth. Okay. Sorry, I just rambled on.
He's very passionate about all this stuff, so it's really awesome that he. I love it.
I emote a lot, about this stuff. So, that's just how it is.
Okay, so for me in grad school, so I was actually getting my master's in communication, and it was a very theoretical program. Like, there was a lot of communication theories, so we studied like Habermas and Foucault. Mm-hmm. Like, those are like philosophers, but some people are like, those aren't real philosophers. But
no, they're philosophers.
It was philosophy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're legit. They're legit. Even, as an analytic philosopher, I'll still say they're legit.
So some philosophy of language, and then that was actually where I had a graduate professor who was teaching. We were talking about something in our class, or I had a communications professor, sorry, and he was my advisor, and we were talking, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, this is like Golden Escher Bach, what you're talking about."
Yeah.
And so he like gave me this book, and I couldn't understand it at all, but I just felt like I was in love with the book, even though like at that point in my life it didn't make any sense to me. So I did that, and then I went on to get my PhD in psychology, and there wasn't a lot of philosophy at all there. Like psychology is really focused right now on being a science, and so one of the things that I want to do is kind of say, hey, psychologists, take a step back. I'm working on an overarching theory of psychology to try and kind of unify it and ask some of those philosophical questions in the psychological world, which haven't really been done since like William James's time.
Yeah, William James is the man, by the way. Check him out. I want to give a shout out to William James.
So, I didn't...
So in grad school,
I get it.
All right.
So I was trying to work. What I'm trying to work on right now is this theory of psychology, this overarching theory of psychology, and we didn't really do philosophy in my psychology PhD program. So it was my last semester, and I remember I was in Starbucks working on my dissertation, which was due in a few months, and I just was like, I need to take philosophy classes. I need to. And so I went and I looked up on the program, and there was grad philosophy classes, and there was one on paradoxes and one on philosophy of mind, and I'm like, I love these classes. So I contacted the philosophy graduate professors and asked if I could be in their class, and they said sure. And my advisor in the psych department was like, what are you doing? Because it's like your last semester of grad school, and I decided to just take 2 more philosophy classes, like 2 graduate level philosophy classes in a completely different department. And it was like, you should be taking like thesis credit right now. You know what I mean? And just like finishing your dissertation. But it called to my soul. And that's actually, that's where we met, was in his philosophy of mind class. Mm-hmm. And so ever since then, I just started, like I said, psychology has not gotten real philosophical in recent years. And so I just wanted to learn more and more about philosophy and how people do philosophy so I could apply it to my theory, my overarching theory of psychology, so then I could do better at that. Because those are the types of questions, those philosophical questions, what is the mind? What is free will? What is at the beginning of everything? We don't ask in psychology very often, and so I think those are important if you want to get the big picture. So
would you say you wanted to view the whole field of psychology through a philosophical lens?
I think that. So what you were just talking about when you talked about like people. The 10 definitions of love, and people not really like understanding
having
each
a
other.
working definition
right.
of it.
So I would see that in psychology, right? My dissertation was on curiosity. Mm-hmm. Well, there'd be some people calling it curiosity, and some people calling it information seeking, and some people calling it exploratory behavior, and some people calling it like I can't think of the other names right now, but there was probably like 4 or 5 different things that if you asked, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? What do you mean? But like if you asked philosophical questions, like if a philosopher went in there, they could tidy that up, because they would say, I'm sure you'd write a paper that would say curiosity and information-seeking behavior are the same, and information-seeking behavior and exploratory behavior are the same, and that type of thing. So
Oh, that's like what you were telling me the other day about a grit and perseverance, right?
Right.
Yes.
And so there's just a lot of constructs because it's so new and people are kind of going in different directions, and we're still trying to figure out psychology because the science of psychology is so relatively new.
It's the baby. It's the baby of the sciences.
Right. So, and people, there was big pushback because a lot of people, especially after Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung and stuff, were like, "That's not even a real science." Like, we get a bad rap among like biologists and that type of thing. They're like, "You have a fake science. It's pseudoscience."
No one likes Freud these days.
Right. So people were like, people in the psychology world are really like, we have to do science. We need to be taken seriously. We want to be credible. And I do think it's so important if we want to understand society and human behavior and that type of thing. Like, we have to do the research. But there's not a lot of people, and there's some, I'm not going to say none, but there's not a lot of people out there asking those philosophical type questions. And so I think the waters are a little muddied, and that's why when I applied philosophy to like kind of the psychological constructs, that's part of the way that I came up with this overarching theory, was by rectifying some of those discrepancies and some of that logical inconsistency and that type of thing.
Interesting. Well, that's pretty cool. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. All right. Okay. So, how is everyone doing today? Everyone doing good right now? Because we're about ready to hop into a meditation, unless anyone had any last-minute objections. Even if you have objections, we're still going to do the meditation.
Yeah, we're still going to meditate no matter what. But we'd love to hear from you if you have something to say, because we've been talking a lot today.
Yeah, I've been running my mouth. Danielle's been running her mouth. It's just... Yeah, a lot. more than you know.
That's true.
More than you know. All right. So, well, then let's just hop into it. Let's hop into the meditation. You want to be in comfortable clothes.
Going to the floor again.
Okay. Danielle's she's gonna head off. She's gonna find a comfortable place to sit. I'm gonna move this chair out of the way so it's out of the field of vision. And it's still there. There we go. Much better. All right. And during this meditation, you can sit on the ground in lotus pose. You can sit cross-legged with your back against the wall. The main thing is that you want to...
That's what I'm doing.
Yes, you're sitting cross-legged with your back against the wall. The main thing is that you want to be comfortable. You can sit in a chair. You can even do a standing meditation if you want. But I prefer to sit down. That's just my preference. So, and then... once you're in a nice, comfortable seated position, you're going to close your eyes. And I have a Buddhist chant that I play that has a chime that goes off every 2 seconds. And that will help us regulate our breath count throughout this meditation. So just sit at peace and see where your body's at. See where you're holding areas of tension. And breathe in to that tension. Inhale through your nose, gently raising your belly. And exhale through your mouth, gently lowering your belly. And breathe in through your nose, gently raising your abdomen. And breathe out through your mouth, gently lowering your abdomen. Find a nice, comfortable, and regular breath count that works for you. And stay true to that breath count throughout the remainder of this meditation. Inhale through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out through your mouth. Stay true to your breath count. When distracting thoughts enter your mind, gently release them and return to the healing power of your breath. In the preface to this meditation, we discussed the notion of truth. Today, in this meditation, we'll delve deep within and find the source of truth. Inhale through your nose, delving deep within, and exhale from your mouth, releasing all that does not serve you well. And breathe in through your nose, searching your chest cavity for that light, and exhale through your mouth, allowing that light to expand. Breathe in through your nose, focusing on that light. Exhale through your mouth, keeping all your attention directed on the light. When your mind begins to wander, gently return your focus to your breath. When your breath is regular and calm, return your focus to the light that shines radiantly within your chest cavity. And stay mindful of that moment. Inhale. And exhale, releasing all that does not serve you well. And breathe in, gently raising your belly. And breathe out, gently lowering your belly. Focus on your breath. As you inhale through your nose, visualize healing chi energy flowing into your body, nourishing every cell in your being. And as you exhale through your mouth, visualize any ego distractions being expelled through your mouth. With every inhale, love and light flow into your body, nourishing your soul. And with each exhale, you release all that does not serve you well. You are one with love and light. That is your essence. And your breath is your gateway to remembering who you are. Inhale gently through your nose, filling your vessel with love and light. And exhale, releasing all fear, anxiety, and worry. Breathe in through your nose, filling yourself with perfect peace. And as you breathe out, recognize your oneness with all of creation. Your essence is oneness, and that which is one cannot be two. That which is one cannot have parts, for that which is one is whole. You are whole. You are perfect just the way you are. Your essence is love, and your purpose is to share your love. Inhale. Exhale. Your essence is love. Inhale. Exhale. You are love. Inhale. Go deep within on this breath. Find the source of creation within you and reside there. For that is your home. That is where you shine bright. And from the source of creation, you extend that love to everyone in your world. Inhale. And exhale, releasing all distracting thoughts and feelings. Breathe in, allowing your soul to glow radiantly. And breathe out, releasing all ego framework from your mind. Focus on your breath. Stay focused on your breath. When distracting thoughts enter your mind, gently release them, watching them float away like clouds through the sky and away from your mind. For your mind is pure. Your mind glows radiantly with light. Love is your essence. Love is your being. Inhale. And exhale, releasing all that does not serve you well. Breathe in. And breathe out, returning yourself to the source of creation. Focus on your breath throughout the remainder of this meditation. Your essence is love. If you choose to not see yourself as love, perceptually you will not see yourself as love. But if you choose to identify with your true nature, which is love, then you'll see through the eyes of eternity. For the attributes of love are immutability, omnipresence, and omniscience. You see everything as you were intended to see. Your third eye will open wide, and you'll see the love and light in others as you encounter them in your daily activities in the phenomenal realm. And when you encounter these people, you will not see their ego. You will look through it to the real source of creation that exists within them. Your oneness will melt and mend their oneness. The part of you that is true will unite with them. You'll see beyond all illusion, and you'll have a holy encounter with that person, and you'll be able to spread your essence and spread your true nature. Inhale. And exhale. Breathe in. And breathe out. Stay focused on your breath. Philosophy is the pursuit of truth. In philosophy, we ask all sorts of questions, trying to hone in on the true nature of existence. Meditation is a tool that also helps us pursue the truth. For we go within and explore who we truly are. That introspective awareness is crucial in developing the full picture of reality. That, coupled with the logical framework of analytic philosophy, help us keep our minds sharp and our souls full. Focus on your breath. Focus on the truth. Inhale through your nose. And exhale through your mouth, releasing all that does not serve you well. Inhale. And exhale, relinquishing all that binds you to sorrow. Inhale pure love and light into your being. And exhale all sickness and distraction from your being. With each breath cycle, you become nourished, completed, and you remember your wholeness once again. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. And exhale. Gently open your eyes and return to the present moment, bringing with you the peace from this meditation throughout the remainder of the day. Namaste. Well, thank you all so much for participating in this meditation with me and Danielle. That's right. She is still here. I know she disappeared for a while. She was getting in a comfortable seated position for the meditation. How was that for you?
Good.
Good. Yeah, that was good for me as well. How did everyone in chat enjoy that meditation? Did anyone have a positive experience, a neutral experience, negative experience, whatever? Let me know. All feedback is welcome here. Yeah, for me, I was able to bypass a little bit of ego that had slipped in under the radar lately. There's been a little bit of ego, a little bit of fear that has slipped in, and I was able to explore it and let it go and release that. So that was a good experience for me. Yeah, I hope everyone else had a really good experience too. These meditations are something that I run maybe 6 days a week or so. And Danielle's on here every Thursday with me, and we discuss philosophy like we did today. So I hope you're all having a wonderful time. If you could please click follow, that would be greatly appreciated. We're trying to grow the channel as much as possible, and we want to get more exposure. And one of the ways you get more exposure is by getting more followers, because the algorithm then detects that, and you're put higher in the list of channels to watch. So please click follow. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you really like what you saw and got something out of this meditation, you can leave a tip, or you can subscribe to our channel. If you subscribe, you get access to our emote.
Okay, I'm gonna do mine one more time.
And Danielle has her modified emote that she uses. So yeah. Oh yeah, nice.
Unicorn medal
She's got the unicorn medal per hand, so it's beautiful. But yeah, so please click follow, subscribe, whatever. And thank you all so much. We're eternally grateful that you tuned in tonight to our meditation, and we're grateful that you're here and enjoying philosophy with us. If we can spread philosophy to you, then we're doing our service as human beings that have some level of understanding of philosophy and psychology, and have thought a lot about the world, and we want to share what we have to offer with you. So thank you so much. It's truly an honor. Okay, JT Farms. Oh, thank you. Yeah, and I'm always so happy to see you around, JT. You really add a tremendous amount to this channel, and having you in chat always makes me smile. And you're much appreciated. I want you to know that. So, all right, let's see who we are going to raid.
Mel's camp is on.
Mel's camp is on. Let's raid Mel's camp. All right, Mel's camp is real cool. She's a really, really awesome streamer. She does all sorts
She's nerding out tonight. And
all sorts of stuff.
she has a cool nature backyard,
Yeah.
and she's so awesome.
She does variety streams, and she does yoga and all sorts of stuff, and she has a cool barn and all sorts of stuff. So give her a lot of love, and have a wonderful day. Namaste.